Okay, so a son asks his father, they're visiting, and he says, Dad, I heard that in some parts of the world a man doesn't know his wife until he marries her. Is that true? And his dad said, oh, son, that's true everywhere. And then he said, but never laugh at your wife's choices, because remember, you are one of them. And lastly, a woman said, I once gave my husband the silent treatment for an entire week. And at the end of the week, he declared, we're getting along pretty great lately, aren't we? And then the husband says the wife says to the husband, do you want dinner? And he said, sure, what are my choices? She said, yes or no. So there you go. Laughter is so good for us. I don't know where my voice went today. It's visiting somewhere else, but we'll do the best with it. So there's a first slide coming up. What is it that brings the psalmist to sing in Psalm 55, verse 6 and 7? Oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then I would fly away and be at rest. I would wander far off and remain in the wilderness. And I kind of picked that one that's launching off from all the others. Oh, that I had the wings like a dove, for then I would fly away and be at rest. I would wander far off and remain in the wilderness. I believe we've all had that feeling. Maybe you're feeling it or experiencing it right now in your life when you have a desire to escape something, a longing to be extricated from some kind of problem, or the urgency to somehow be lifted out of some problem that seems unresolvable. A desire to escape can be as simple as someone you don't really enjoy being around invites you to dinner, and you really don't know how to, you don't know how to say no. You don't want to go, and you don't know how to say no, and it feels like there's no escape. Or after just sharing with your friend, gosh, I'm free all weekend. I finally have a weekend to myself, and that friend says, great, I'm moving this week. Could you help me? Or I've had this where you're sitting next to the crying baby on the airplane, and there is no escape. There's no escape, You don't know how to graciously get out of something, turn down an invitation, or you want to escape. So what do we do when life flashes a no exit sign in front of us? That's what we want to talk about today. No exit. No, to our human intellect, there's no exit or no way out. With God, there's always a way. But what causes the feeling, first of all, of wanting to escape? For some of us, we're genuinely fatigued and we need to get away. For others, somebody says, nobody understands me, and I just want to get away from it all. And others think that by leaving, they can make a statement about how encumbered they are. You take me for granted, and once I'm gone, you'll miss me, kind of thing. Or others just say, I don't have what it takes. I don't have what it takes to stay here and complete this or do this. The cry is always the same. God, get me out of this, right? God, get me out of this. We have those experiences. Jesus said to his disciples to come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while. Come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while. And the key there is he said a while. He didn't say forever. He said a while. And in Psalm 23, when it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, the emphasis there is you keep walking. You don't pitch a tent or build a cabin and take up residence in a sad valley of depression and despair. Life has ebb and flow, and longing to escape from a difficulty or a confrontation may keep you from the purpose and potential for which you were born. If you find yourself in conflict and you don't deal well with conflict, or you have confrontation at work or whatever it is, you're actually being called to develop more skills, just human intellectual skills and strategies. But the Spirit of God places us in these experiences so that we can expand the truth of who we are and live from a greater place of love and understanding. Yes, there are times when vacations in beautiful places give us huge encouragement and hope, but we're not born to stay in resting places. We're born to fulfill a divine purpose, aren't we? Let's put our hands on our hearts and say, I'm born for a divine purpose. Together, I'm born for a divine purpose. Some of us know that purpose early in our lives, don't we? Others we stumble into it by accident. Others, it reveals itself. And sometimes I've known people who I've counseled with that, they've had a whole career in something, but it's never been what they really wanted to do. But I said, what is it you want to do? And they said, I don't really know. It's never shown itself to me. And I always feel a sense of sadness that you're not in alignment with the truth of your purpose. We are born to fulfill a purpose. At Unity of Auburn, we're here to open ourselves to the unseen spiritual power of the universal Christ consciousness, which is the strongest force in the universe. And as we open to divine opportunities, as we let ourselves begin to trust more and more, I call it free fall on the universe, then events line up. And the power of God is able to work wonders in and through us. Sometimes when we step out of the way, God can do more through us and for us when we get ourselves out of the way. But what about those times when you receive a divine idea and you go, what? What? And you feel uncertain about it or unclear about it, or it doesn't feel like it's the right path to take at all. Together we are looking at aspects of the divine masculine, which is the intellect part of all of us, male and female. The first week we looked at David and Goliath and a mindset that takes courageous action. Second week we looked at Moses and said that once you catch that glimpse of the promised land, you must be devotional to it. Something greater is awakening in you, and you want to be devotional to it regardless of the Red Sea of obstacles that get in your way. You want to keep making progress toward that. We're told in Moses' analysis to fear not, stand still, and see the salvation of Jehovah, which he will work for you this day. For the Egyptians whom you see today, the problems you see today, you'll never see again if you stand steadfast in that truth. Last week we looked at Joseph, the son of Jacob, and we learned that his mindset is to seek and find the good in every experience. That in any negative experience we can say, you may have meant evil against me, but God means it for good. God means it to expand me. And when you can anchor yourself in the truth that everything that happens in your life happens for a reason, and that reason is so that the power and glory of God can be made manifest in you, through you, as you, in more powerful and profound ways than ever before, then you're walking in a reality of the divine, and you're one with the Godhead and the universal Christ consciousness stream and flow, and everything around you then begins to line up because you know it's all for good. It's all for expanding your consciousness and becoming more. Today we meet Joseph, the father of Jesus. He had an interesting time, didn't he? The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary defines Joseph's name as Jehovah shall increase progressively. And so it's this idea that I want to explore about when life flashes a no exit sign, no way out, no comfortable way out, no gracious way out, what do you do? Because that certainly happened for Joseph, didn't it? But when our intellect is illumined by spiritual insight, it becomes able to grasp the ways of spirit. And our consciousness grows in response to that into broader understanding. Joseph's story is found, it's not Christmas, but we're going to talk about Joseph. Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 through 25, you'll recall that he was betrothed to Mary, and then Mary gets a visit from an angel that says, hello, you're going to have a baby, and it's divine. And she was troubled by that. And then so was Joseph, as you can imagine. And it says, and her husband Joseph, being a just man and unwilling to put her to shame, resolved to divorce her quietly. Did you know that? Did you know he had planned to do that? His intention to divorce Mary simply reveals, and this is true for all of us, in the first stages of the birth of something new in us, we don't always understand what's happening, right? And so we can resist it or reject it, or we want to put it away from us or push it away from us and take control of our lives. But an angel also appeared to Joseph a little bit later, a few passages later, and told Joseph in a dream that he should raise the child, and when he woke up, he did as the angel commanded. He understood and followed what Spirit had revealed. So he didn't act on that first impulse, but he allowed himself to go into a dream state, higher consciousness and openness with less, where the resistance is lowered and you're able to receive. And just think of the potential that he was given to raise Jesus. He probably didn't even know it when it was happening, how significant that was. But his purpose was to be the father of Jesus. But we do get into things, and there seems to be no exit sign, and we struggle with them intellectually and the human self of us. My nephew and his wife married in 2000, and they divorced in 2003. And then they remarried in 2005, and they divorced again in 2008. After 9 years of trying to have a baby and failing, she got pregnant on the way out the door with their third divorce. So it's not what either of them wanted or had expected, but there they were, living in separate places. She's pregnant with the baby, and so they decided to go together to the birth appointments, and then the baby was born, and they were co-parenting the baby. And then they went to counseling, and they reconciled, and were married a third time. I don't know if it's third or fourth time. And that's been 12 years ago. They remarried in, I don't remember, I could lose track, 2010. I can't keep track of their anniversaries. Anyway, so they remarried in 2010. That's 12 years ago. They now have a son, a beautiful family, and they're living the happily ever after part. They were able to reconcile it. But at first, when they were in that midst of that experience, there seemed to be no exit. I'm pregnant with a baby, and I'm going to be a single mom after my third divorce. That can be a challenging place to be. But they worked through it rather than just take that first impulse to just cast everything aside. So my question this morning is, when you seem to be facing a no exit sign, what can you do? In Scripture it says Joseph at first was minded to put Mary away. First mind. That's what I want us to talk about. When you get to that no exit thing, first thought, first impression. We're not quite there yet, but that's okay. When the Spirit of God is trying to expand us or get something new into us, or to bring in more light and more love into our lives, something that's greater is trying to be born. At first, as I said, we don't understand it. And first thought and first impressions are the almost instant conclusions that we make, and they can have profound effect on our everyday lives, can't they? Those first impressions that we make so quickly and we're so certain of them. Research shows it takes as little as 7 seconds for people to form 11 impressions based on nonverbal cues. How about that for judgment? This is actually known as the 7-11 rule. 7 seconds, I can size you up in 11 different ways. We form opinions, don't we, by taking in information quickly and deciding what is true, what is so. But while first impressions are important, they can be misleading. They can often misrepresent what they really are like. For instance, you can look at a book's cover, but it doesn't necessarily tell you what the book is going to be, right? You can look at a delicious meal that's presented in all its beauty, but those Brussels sprouts are still going to be Brussels sprouts. No matter, those broccoli flowerets are still going to be broccoli. So it can be what it looks like can be misrepresented. What it smells like can be misrepresented. All the senses can be misrepresented. The first impressions are not always right. They can be inaccurate or not true to what something really is. But the good news is first impressions can evolve over time. You're probably familiar with that sentence. You never get a second chance to make a good first impression, but you can create an opportunity to correct one, or to bring one more into the alignment of the truth of you. And so I have 4 ways that we want to look at to do that today. The first is when you think you have no way out of some situation, no exit, the no exit sign is flashing. The first thing you want to do is ask yourself what strikes you as the most important feeling or image from your first interaction. What was it that struck you? This idea drops in and it says, get a new job. And you think, no, I'm happy in this job. It's not quite the pay or the hours that I want, but it says, get a new job. What's the first thing that strikes you in that idea? And then you're encouraged to take the opportunity to assess the situation and gain a bigger perspective. If Joseph had gone ahead and divorced Mary, I'm sure history would have been written differently, but he didn't. He took time to assess the situation and get a broader perspective. And then in prayer, open yourself to opportunities and possibilities, to seek for more interaction. Ask Spirit, say more about that, God, because I'm not getting it on your first pass through, right? And as we turn then to the Joseph quality in us, which he's demonstrating that he's willing to gain perspective, he's willing to have a broader understanding about the circumstance in this situation, that opens the heart and the mind for Spirit to feed us with right answers. It will help us not jump to judgment and decide how things are going to be, and this is what's going to happen, and this is how I want it to be. And as we learn to yield to what I like to call spiritual informing, you may call it divine revelation, but as we learn to sit in the silence and allow ourselves to receive from Spirit, then we can live from a certainty and an assurance that, like we said last week, everything that happens for a reason, and that reason is so that the glory of God can be made manifest in you, through you, as you, in more powerful and profound ways than ever before. And the last thing is define for yourself a reason great enough to stay on purpose. That's being demonstrated for us by the people of Ukraine. They're in a no-exit situation, and it caused them all to rally together under a divine idea, or under an idea where it's bigger than they are. It transcends one person in Ukraine, or the government of Ukraine, or the government of a different country, and they're rising up. They're rising up in great faith and demonstration. So it says, define for yourself, what does it say? Define a reason great enough to stay on purpose. If Joseph had exited out of his divine direction, I'm sure his life would have gone on and whatever it would have been, but he stayed on purpose to the truth of what was right for him. He lifted Mary up onto that little donkey, and they went in to answer the census, and he stayed through the birth in the stable. He was on purpose, on task to his divine purpose. So you want to find a reason that's greater than your need for comfort, greater than your desire to escape. And when you're sitting next to that crying baby on the airplane, rather than put on your AirPods and crank up your music and try to distract yourself into reading a book, why not introduce yourself to your seatmate? Get the name. Maybe offer to hold the baby so the mother can get up and use the restroom or get herself settled. You see, we can find alternatives and opportunities. I had that once when I was flying on a plane, and there was a woman with a toddler in the middle seat and the baby on her lap, and the aisle seat was open. And everybody walked past that aisle seat. And I thought, I haven't held a baby in a long time. I'll sit there. And I sat down in the aisle seat, and we got to talking, and she was leaving wherever she was from, Detroit, I think, and flying to Oakland to join the Navy. And a relative was going to be taking care of the children while she had to do all of her, what is that called, your pre-duty training? Yeah. And she said, I'm kind of scared because I don't know how to swim. So I don't think you're going to be swimming in the Navy, And then she's wearing this T-shirt, had a picture of this man on it. She goes, that's the baby's father. He was shot in the head and in the knees 2 times and died. So I'm actually a widow. I went, okay. And the babies were perfect. They weren't crying. They weren't doing anything. And then I offered to hold the baby while she got up to go to the bathroom. We had a lovely, as lovely as can be, conversation all the way from wherever we were, Chicago to Oakland. And she got off, and I wished her well, and the babies were perfect. And so, you can miss an opportunity. You can miss what God is calling you to do in the moment if you're not listening within, if you're not giving yourself an opportunity to get past that first impression. Don't abandon or run away from the higher purpose you were born for. Your post of duty is ready for you, and there you will find more of God than you will find in any self-imposed exile. You have an opportunity to meet God face to face, heartbeat to heartbeat in those experiences. I think there's a slide for that, Jesse, because I want you to be able to see. Don't run away from the experiences that can lead you to your higher purposes, the higher purposes you were born for. And it doesn't mean some big magnificent thing. It's our everyday lives when we have this opportunity to step up and help, to step up and serve, to step up and love, offer compassion, whatever it is, because you're making this 7-Eleven judgment, right? Your post of duty is ready for you. And there you will find more of God than you'll find in any self-imposed exile of escape, right? If I'd put my headset on and not talk to her sitting in the seat and let her struggle with all the stuff, what would that say about me, to me? How would I feel about that? Whatever may be going on around you this week, I invite you to listen, to follow, and explore the divine ideas that are seeking to be revealed in you. And our last slide we want to affirm together. Let's start with infinite intelligence. The mind of God, please join me. The mind of God saturates every particle of matter in the universe. My mind is one with this infinite thinker. In the scripture, open my eyes to see the wonderful truths in your instructions. So this week, let's make a commitment to not jump to conclusions or to allow first impressions to be expanded into seeking opportunities and possibilities that there is an escape, there is a way out. So God bless you. And let's take that idea into a time of prayer, which I have here. So think about your life and your exit signs. And some exit signs are like on the freeway. You just get off at the exit and you go on with your journey. Some of them you come into roadblocks. But let's just set that aside for the morning and let go and let God. No situation, no circumstance is greater than God. And when you allow yourself to step away from all the rumination and move like Joseph into a dream state, into a higher level of consciousness, into a higher vibration of consciousness, you're opening to the most powerful force in the universe, to the infinite thinker, to the infinite intelligence. So think about your life and something that's beautiful and divine, and focus your attention on that truth of God. And if there's something that's in a healing journey, something that's reconciling a confusion, trust the best outcome is on its way right now. Take a deep breath in, exhale. Release the need for a specific outcome. For just these few moments of prayer, trust that there is likely a solution which your human mind cannot conceive, but divine mind can and will. There is no situation greater than God. There is no situation greater than God. Let's affirm it. There is no situation greater than God. If there's a struggle with a difficult situation or a tough decision, sometimes we can feel awash in all the details and the opinions. We're not sure how to move forward or what to decide. But that's the perfect time to release it all to God. And let the light streaming from the Godhead now come in through the top of your head. It's all around us, inside us, can come up out of us or down into us or circle all around us. But let that streaming light of the Godhead infuse you now. Infuse your mind with right ideas, with hope and faith. Let it stream down into your heart and fill you with happiness and joy. Let it stream into every organ, action, and function in your body with this healing, restoring energy. Feel it swirling around you like a dancing top from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. This God stream is swirling in and through you. And then let that spinning top that represents you move out into your life. Let it go before you, swirling, radiating beams of light and joy and love into your life. Feel how good it feels. Let yourself focus on the attention, on the truth. Let your attention be on the truth of God. And trust that the best outcome is on its way to you. No circumstance is greater than God. Again, no circumstance is greater than God. And in these few moments of peace, where we're together as a spiritual family, draw on the connection in this room of like-mindedness, power of Spirit circulating in and through all of us. Be a part of this spiritual family. And just bask in that for a moment of silence. And as each of us is filled up, we turn our attention to our loved ones, our friends, our neighbors, the Auburn community, this church, our board, our region, our world headquarters. We let that same vibration of joy and love and life move in and through all those that we love and hold in prayer. The names in our prayer box, all who have asked for help from this ministry. And we say to them with firm conviction, no circumstance is greater than God. Together, no circumstance is greater than God. And we hold steadfast in faith for them. They hold it for themselves, but we can join collectively. Where two or more are gathered together, there I am in the midst. So we know this for our loved ones. I trust the best outcomes are on their way today. And for this remembering, repositioning ourselves in alignment with God, renewing ourselves in the truth of Spirit, we give thanks in the name and the nature of the living Christ. And together we all say, Amen.